an early bird, and I'm a night owl. So I'm wise, and I have worms.
What are you talking about? You look totally cool, like a real chick.
I look like the Korean Buddy Holly.
Buddy Holly was cool.
May he rest in peace, but Buddy Holly was not an attractive man.
I'm not a garbage man! I'm a muffin man!
It's the Al Travis Show, and because of this program, I get to meet a lot of great folks. And one on the top of my list is the man who wrote The Leftover Soul, Pondering Life in Modern America. It is John Knaus. Lucky to call my friend and have him on the program. John, how are you doing, sir?
I'm fantastic, Al. I hope you're well, too.
Mentally, yeah, as well as I think we can be doing currently. Things are so strange here. Again, thank you for being on. Folks, if you haven't got the book, if I'm wrapping up John's life, basically he was raised as a Democrat in a Democratic household, felt how he was raised was correct, that he had a good upbringing. And then as he went along older and older in life, he felt the same group that he was affiliated with had left him. Is that pretty rock on? I mean, you want to add anything?
It pretty much is.
All right. So I get you. I read the book, and I just love the book. If you're in your 50s and 60s, you got to have the book. You will relive your childhood. I love it. So I get him on the program. We get chatting and become friends. When the Charlie Kirk shooting happened, it is so weird. I had a couple of days which went south on me, just mentally inside. And then I started thinking about who I want to talk to about this, and I wanted John on this program. For me, John, terrible thing happens that Wednesday. My children, who Charlie Kirk spoke to, I mean, he wanted college-age kids. He wasn't looking for 6-year-old radio guys. But because of them, I'd seen most of his videos. I don't know how many I didn't see, the little 3-minute jobs that were on X. And I thought he was well-spoken. I thought he spoke his truth. This is why I believe what I do, and I never heard him yell at anybody. I really enjoyed the cat. So it kind of hit me that he got killed. Obviously, I don't think I'm speaking any weird stuff here.
No.
But the next day in my garage, I got done working. I wanted to go out and watch the news, so I took a cigar out, and I start getting on X. And I start seeing a lot of people, and then I know you watch one, the algorithm changes, yada, yada. But I saw hundreds of these people celebrating the death of this young man for doing nothing more than standing in the town square and talking his truth. And that's when it really hit my nerves, really in a weird spot, that I said, this isn't the America I grew up with, and who are we going to talk about and how are we talk about it? How did you handle what you've seen so far 1 week since his passing, the assassination?
It was funny for me because I sense so much of the vitriol, and that I went off of social media the week before this happened.
Oh, wow.
I delete I do what I have to do. Like, I like to sell stuff online, so I'll put
Sure.
it online, but it's hard to not see the postings from family and political and all that.
Yep.
So I do my quick posting and I get off of there and delete the app so that I can't scroll on it all day. But the night that Charlie Kirk had been murdered, and that's hard to say, I hate to say anybody murdered, I went with a young friend and he was quite shaken. You know, he's more of the age group that Charlie was, and we're looking on his Facebook posts, and he posted very nice condolences and heartfelt condolences, and you know, he was getting pushback from people in his world, how come you didn't post about the Catholic school? Or I read somebody else, how come you didn't post about the Hortmans? You know, didn't put the flags at half staff on the Hortmans. So there seems to be this judgment, like, well, what level of upset are you? And the thing about Charlie Kirk is he spoke to a lot of young people. Like I said, it's in our household, he wasn't really a thing, but I knew of him.
Yep.
But he had a resonance with the young folks, so I can see the upset and the anguish in that, because you know, a large segment of society, you know, followed him, and if you didn't know who he was before, you sure know who he is now.
No, absolutely. Let me ask you this. This is my theory, and I want to. There was JFK, and you saw the video of that. and how that affected people. I mean, it was everywhere. You could not see it. The next one was Ronald Reagan, and this is probably more our time period. I remember the day he got shot. They called us in the auditorium at school, so the president was shot. As we went home, I remember going home, and my parents weren't really political people. I could not have told you at the time whether my mom was a Democrat or Republican. I think, looking back, probably a Democrat. But I remember as we were watching news, her crying that Reagan got shot. And we get chatting again. First, probably a political conversation. We don't do this in America. That's our president. Just like you don't do it with John Kennedy. This is wrong. And that's the first time I remember politics in my home. I wonder if this isn't this generation's Reagan. Do you remember where you were at with Reagan? You know what I'm saying? This is a generation of kids saying, "Are we going to put up with shooting our?" This isn't our president. I get that. But you get my point.
It's funny because I was in I think it was 7th grade, and I remember I was right in class, and our household was very political, very democratic. My dad would get together with the neighbors, and they would spar over politics and money and stuff like that because they were both business people. But I never can remember my dad or anyone in my family or anyone in my circle saying, "Oh, that was a good thing," this was a good thing or that. So it's just, it just, this whole thing, whether you're talking about Charlie Kirk or the Hortmans or the Catholic schools or whatever, they're all a tragedy. And this nuanced level of, well, this was okay because he had this message, or this was okay because the perpetrator's background was this, so we have to handle it more tender. None of this was ever a thing. A crime was a crime, a murder was a murder, an assassination was an assassination, and everybody was equally outraged and said, "We're not going to put up with this." But now it's like there's little nuances, and the problem why crime is running amok in our society is because we send these nuances that this was an okay thing, and when you send those nuances, you get more of it. You're sending a message that X or Y or Z was okay, and in my book, none of it's okay. None of it.
Love that. Let me throw another history that you were again roughly the same age as me. And where did you grow up? What city?
I was in Michigan until I was 9, and the primary California.
Okay, I grew up in Forest Lake, Minnesota. All right, just north of the cities. I remember distinctly in high school, a friend of mine he lived on the farm. He trapped after school. And I remember him coming to school with rifles across the back window, right? I mean, he'd go hunting, and we had lots of that in school. No one looked twice at it. It was like, oh, he must be going hunting after school. No one even thought about rifles in the back window. So what I'm trying to get to, and I'm going to get to your spot on guns. We had them back in our day. We knew that kids had them back in there. We weren't scared of the gun. And here's where I'm going with this. So to me, what's the difference today than back when you and I were kids? I think it's this internet and the dark side of the internet. If you have bad thoughts about what you want to do to others, you can go online and say, "I hate Charlie Kirk," and find that dark web spot where 100 of you can all feed on each other and tell you you're right. Oh, you didn't have that 40 years ago. I don't know what you did with your bad thoughts 40 years ago. You just had them, but now you can feed off each other, and all of a sudden, now, you know what? That might be okay if you did this bad thing. I'm telling you, I think it's the negative part it's the only thing I can tell different between the gun, why these people are doing what they're doing, and why it's got to end in a mass tragedy.
The whole thing about the guns and the internet, as you can tell from my book and why it resonates, hopefully resonates with your audience, is I tried to take a very calm, and I have humor, so there's more humor. If I wrote that book today with all the things that have transpired since it came out, I think it would have a lot more somber tone.
Oh, yeah.
I think it would have a lot more somber tone because, you kind of get pushed back being a wise guy in there, but I tried to inject the humor in there and the honesty. But when it comes to the guns and the things like that, there used to be real consequences for crime. We never had, if somebody went and they shot a gas station clerk and was arrested from the police and pulled a gun on the police, and they were shot down. We didn't hold them a ticker tape parade. We didn't hold a memorial and put them on Bob Newhart's couch with cookies and understanding. It's just a crime was a crime, and it's like, you don't want to have a bad interaction with the police, don't commit a crime. And this was something that 100% of our society used to believe, and now it's like split. You know, I write a chapter in the book 1979, and it's like in 1979, if you put a sign in your front yard that says, "We support our police," they look at you like you're nuts. It's like, well, doesn't everybody? It's like, and this is "We breathe air."
And you talk about a second book. I know you're getting rich off the first one, so maybe you don't need to take the time, but I would love you to write that second book. And let's just take the humor out and get you on paper talking about the stuff we're talking about, each and every one of them, and busting it down. That's what I love to do, and I love hearing what you've got to say. And I want to talk more about what's going on locally. We'll do it right after the break. I've got him, John Knaus. He wrote the book, The Leftover Soul, Pondering Life in Modern America. You got to get this book. Back after this.
Tired of one-sided media and divisive noise drowning out your conservative values? Take back the conversation with Braver Angels. Join a grassroots movement to restore civility and find common ground without compromising your principles. As a conservative, your voice matters. Share your perspective on issues like immigration and public health in Red Blue workshops and help rebuild trust in our great nation. Be a leader in depolarizing America. Sign up for free at mn.braverangels.org. Braver Angels, where conservatives, liberals, and independents unite for a stronger republic.
You know that car sound that sounds like a cricket playing a banjo? Jay's can fix that. You know when you step on the brakes and your car sounds like a pair of tennis shoes in the dryer? Paul is a guy who specializes in that. And you know that sound that never happens when the mechanic's around? Paul took a whole course on that. If you own a car, you need to know Paul. Paul owns Jay's Auto Shop, 202 North Main Street, Blue Earth, 525-1052, 525-1052.
As in alligator. L also in alligator. But it's not alligator. It's the Al Travis Show.
I'm going to call him Mr. Common Sense. He's John Knaus. Love having him on the program. He wrote The Leftover Soul, Pondering Life in Modern America, and I love chatting with him. Sir, let me throw this out at you. We're having the top news story today is this bickering about whether President Trump, should have lowered flags to half-staff when the Hortmans were shot, when he didn't, but he did it for Charlie Kirk, who wasn't a political person, and we're having this conversation. Here's where I'm at. I said this before the shooting of Charlie Kirk. We got to stop this weird, you guys didn't do it, so we didn't do it. What's the level of how big you are thing? I remember when the Hortmans were out, we were talking about this every day. We flew the flags at half-staff. I don't know if Donald Trump has an obligation to do it nationwide. I don't even know. But it's kind of like when Biden didn't go to Pennsylvania because the railroad thing blew. What's he going to do in Pennsylvania? We're holding this against him. If he doesn't, he does it. If he doesn't, why are we setting this up that somehow we have to decide whether Charlie Kirk was more important than Hortman? It seems like such a non-starter. I don't want to hear about it. I think this is small potatoes. People are getting shot.
The thing about that is what happened to Hortman's was absolutely a tragedy. Just
100%.
Charlie Kirk, just as tragic as the Catholic school.
Absolutely.
The Hortmans, unfortunately, that happened on the day my daughter got married. So I had people in town. We were getting ready for rehearsals and stuff like that, and we saw that on the news.
Mm-hmm.
And, my reaction was, oh, good. It's not none of this is healthy because it gets us into this bickering and stuff like that. And it's just, my social media, what I was on, it's like I never posted for the Hortmans. I never posted for the Catholic school. I never posted for Charlie Kirk. And it's like I went off of it the week before Charlie Kirk, and I'm rather glad I did because I can't take this judgment of, well, this one's more important, or you weren't as outraged as you were over that one. They're all a tragedy. It's just for young people, Charlie Kirk was a role model, common sense, resonated with young people because he's young and he's a father of two. So somebody might post on that, whereas they may not resonate as well with a Minnesota senator, politician. That doesn't mean that the Hortmans weren't
important, absolutely,
and a tragedy. But we've got to start to come together and just not, and not put up with it. And it's we can talk guns all you want, but it's like there's got consequences for the crime, because when you have all this nuance, like this was okay because of this or that, okay, just this little subtle. It's very subtle. And when you have pushback on enforcement of crime, you get more crime. So what we need to say as a society is 100% gun violence is wrong, punished to the fullest extent of the law, and we don't care what your background is.
How do we get there, though? How do guys like you and I, folks listening to this show, how do we take this country back to those times where we're 100% behind the police? If there's a rogue one, we'll get rid of him. But again, the gun crime thing is saying we just won't accept this anymore. We're going to stop. Minneapolis had 8 people shot here in the last 2 days. We're done. Stop it. How do we get to that? How do you and I pull it back?
This is a very difficult road, because it's like we look at, the controversy of President Trump wanting to send in the National Guard, like Chicago. Chicago has 57 shootings and murders every weekend. Now, the governor and the mayor of Chicago, the governor of Illinois, mayor of Chicago, they're pushing back on Trump. We don't need this. Well, my question and your question and everybody's question should be, if you don't want the National Guard going into Chicago, what is your plan to get this situation under control?
Yeah.
Because each and every person that is shot in Chicago every weekend is just as promising of a life. It's a life. Yeah. It's a human. It's a father. It's a child. It's a husband. It's a wife. They're just as important as Charlie Kirk. They're just as important as the Hortmans, but they don't have the glamour factor, so we hear nothing about it. But Chicago, where's your plan? I have to drive through Chicago in November. Am I going to get shot? And are people going to say, well, I don't matter because I don't fit the narrative? I mean, that's kind of sick.
It is. Sir, I can't thank you enough for taking the time to do this for you. I couldn't wait to talk with you. I appreciate your thoughts. He's John Knaus. He wrote the book, The Leftover Soul, Pondering Life in Modern America. Get it today. John, thank you. Thank you, boss, for letting you do this for me.
God bless you, Al. I hope we're making a difference. We got to pull back from this.
I don't know if we'll ever know if we have or not, but we're going to do the best we can. I appreciate you, John. John Knaus.
God bless you all.
When the stakes are high at the Minnesota Capitol, you need more than a lobbyist. You need a partner.